Sì, sono Stefano di Belgio. Infatti non voglio parlare un po' italiano, ma no, adesso sì, in inglese. Ma posso andare dentro la città e domandare per una pizza, un po' di vino, ma adesso in inglese. So, I'm just Stefano. It's not very difficult, okay? Stefano. In italiano, Stefano. I'm just a member of the EuroPython Society. I am the organizer of the EuroPython Society, and also a member of the PSF, the Python Software Foundation. Just for the biography and blah, 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 blah. I have just received a Community Service Award during the last PyCon in Portland, just because in Belgium I created the Python for them, a small event where we are between 600 and 800 people in one room for 1 day just for Python. Okay? And what else? Just nothing, except that I like to go to different conferences around the world, and that's my prima volta qui in PyCon Italia. So, I'm going to explain you a small story, very small story for the kids. Once upon a time, there's a movie on Netflix. But in this case, it's not the case. About a bunch of developers. You know this group of developers is a Monty Python, the name of Python. So this bunch of developers was really happy because there is a new project. This project is just Python, but sometimes there is a small problem, a bug, an issue, and whatever. And they have a tool for that. This tool is just the issue tracker. The issue tracker is a small website where you can create a new issue and you will follow the life of this issue during 1 day or six years. Yes. Here is the issue tracker. This one is not really sexy. We can see it's an issue tracker for the 19th years. But in this case, for Python, this tool is really perfect for us. Okay? Maybe not for the community because that's really hard to become a contributor of Python with this tool. Okay? So, but there is a problem with this issue tracker in the past. That's not the case since the migration to Git and GitHub. Why? Because with the issue tracker, when we want to submit a patch or just a patch for a fix or just for an improvement, we have to use a small patch. Just a patch. Never, no branch, nothing else, just a patch. And sometimes a patch is really ugly. And sometimes for one issue, we can have a lot of patches. For example, in this case, yes, matrix size here it's me. So because I think in my first patch was just correct, it's not the case. There's a second, oh no, it's correct. You have to write a third and a fourth. Okay. So you will see that if you have, if you want to contribute to Python with this kind of stuff, that's very difficult to contribute to Python because you can see my first patch was in 2015, and the last one in 2016. Maybe 1 year between the first and the last patch. And that's very difficult to use that. So, we only have some patches, just that. But when we use a patch, or when we want to contribute via some patches, we need a small tool. In this case, it's just a tool for the review. And in this case, it's just Wirtel. Wirtel was a tool created by GitHub and Verson. Yes?
Some Google guys.
Yeah, Google guys. So, in fact, they just use a new tool, Wirtel, just create a fork for this one, of this one, and is somewhere in the internet where you can work with this one. And here is the main page of Wirtel. It's not very sexy. So when I want to say sexy, it's not the same thing with GitHub. Okay? So in this case, you can see that there is a patch set 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's just the 4 patches I just provided before. And we have a list of files with some description and some other stuff about this patch. But it's not really useful for us. So when we want to see just a diff, the content of this patch, there's a playlist here. When we want to see just the difference of this patch, we have this screen without any syntax correction. That's not really easy to read it. Okay, this one is just a text. We have a dog test. We have some bytecode and just that. But it's just horrible for a new contributor. So, just for the summary of Wirtel, is a custom fork maintained by only one person, not by the community, just one person. It's not very sexy, already said. There's no highlighted diff, and it's not really integrated with the bug tracker. Okay. In fact, just when we add a new command here in the diff, there's no command. This command won't go to the bug tracker. You have to follow the history of the bug with the issue tracker and with the Wirtel tool. Okay? So, sometimes we can have this head. So, no, it's not possible. But yes, it's possible, yeah. So, it's not a joke, it's my life. So, in the past, when you wanted to contribute to Python, there was a typical workflow. Just for contributor, the story was, hey, you want to create a patch? Yeah. You have an issue? Yes. Firstly, could you create a new issue? Yes. You go to the website, create a new account, create a new issue, and just check out the source code from Mercurial, make the fix, upload the fix, and wait and see. You can explain. So, for a core developer, it's just we need to download the patch, just to be sure that the patch is just a good patch, and not a bad patch. Try to fix the conflicts. Why? Because maybe you have created a patch for the first version of Python and we are on the version 3.6. And I believe that we can have a lot of conflicts between the first and the last one. So in this case, we need, I'm not a core developer, he is a core developer, but he needs to realize the migration from the old patch to the new version. So just run the test suite, commit, and continue to create a patch for the other branches. Okay, from this point, what can we see about the patch? A patch is just this kind of file. It's not really useful for us. We don't have the revision of the project, we don't have the full path, and we don't know the original author. Yeah, because when you provide a patch for the community, for the Python project, you have to sign a CLA, where you give the rights to the Python Software Foundation. In this case, with a patch, there is no the author. We have to provide that or try to find the original author of the patch, because you know the problem. So, of course, we are a very big project with a lot of contributor, but there is no CI except for the master branch and the stable branch and just that. Yeah? And sometimes one build can take between 1 hour or maybe 1 day. For example, for Windows and Mac OS X. These builds are just really, really slow. And sometimes the builder is just broken. So, sometimes we have frequent bugs on Windows, and fortunately we have some developers at Microsoft. They can help us. And we have some developers for Linux and OS X. Okay? So, If there is no problem, if we have the green signal, we will port to the other branches. For example, you have a patch for the last version, 3.6, and if there is no problem with the continuous integration, we create the patch for the other version. That's very boring because we have to do it. It's not you, it's us. So, okay? So, and of course, just for the master branches, the stable branches. Okay, we have a small limitation. The first one is that we need your help. We are just some volunteer developers, and that's very difficult to update some parts of the project. I'm going to explain with this file, the MISC new file. Later, I'm going to explain. So what's the status? Firstly, you need to download the source from Mercurial, use some patches, store them on the bugs tracker. We use a whole version of Wirtel, and the workflow is really complex. But when I say really complex, that's the reason why we don't have a lot of contributors on Python. You can start, you will provide a patch, a second or third, and you can wait for a review between 1 day or maybe 6 months. It's not false, that's the truth. So, maybe we have a problem with the workflow, because this one is just too complex. Oh, sorry. But do you remember this movie with the Monty Python? You have this night, no, I don't want to, no. Okay, are you sure? Yes, I would like to contribute. No, I don't want, okay. It's the garden, he does not want. So, we have to change the workflow. And in this case, that's not really easy. Because we are not on a small project, it's a small project with 800 contributors. Okay, from different countries and with the difficulties that we can meet in this case. So, but how can we do that? So, as a lot of developers, they ask, so how can we try to facilitate the job of the contributor? Well, there is a solution. In the past, there was a new PEP. This PEP is just of 512, where we will explain the way to migrate from Mercurial to Git and GitHub. Okay? So, then, why we migrated to Git? Who is using Git? Who is using Mercurial? What are you doing? You break my talk. No, there is one guy is using Mercurial. Yes, I know. So, okay. But in fact, just with some statistics, we have found that Mercurial is not really used by the community, Python community, just because we have created some statistics from OpenHub and PyPy. So, from OpenHub, we have seen that Git is just used for 37%. In the case of PyPy, 62%. So in this case, Git is just more popular than Mercurial. That's the reason why we migrate from Mercurial to Git. Why not SVN? Because we come from SVN. And before, I don't remember, maybe with Samba, CVS, and before I have seen a group of developers with Samba. But it's not another country, another history. So, from this number, we can see that Git is just popular, and we can use it. So, why GitHub? Why not Bitbucket? Well, in this case, it's just GitHub. Because GitHub is just popular. You want to contribute a project, It's not really difficult. Just, okay, there's a button, a clone button. Click on the button, yes. And in 2 seconds, you have a copy of the repository. In this case, it's very easy, because if you want to contribute, just click on this button. There's no more to do, just that. After, you have to change your file. For example, you want to write a new documentation in Italian for Python, you can do that just with this button. But it's the first place if you want to contribute to a project. Everybody knows GitHub. Also with Bitbucket, but GitHub is more popular. We don't want to support a new infrastructure for the source code. GitHub will do the job, okay? In this case, we don't want to do that. The whole example was with Wirtel. You are familiar with GitHub. GitHub has the pull request concept. I think it's very good. Who used the pull request? Okay, it's a good choice. Okay. And GitHub has, just for the pull request, there is a tool for the review. So, also, there is a sexy web interface. Okay, that's really easy to see the content and the commits are just a conversation about one pull request. Okay, and we have a very good avatar for Sergey. And we can have a lot of conversation, a lot of comments on the issue, on the pull request. We can see the difference for this pull request, just that. So just with these 3 points, we just remove Wirtel. First point, we removed Wirtel. Second thing, we can have a list of the pull requests. It's not the case with the bug tracker, the current bug tracker. Because on the bug tracker, you have a flag. There is a patch or not. Yeah, there is a patch. But this patch is just for the last version of Python or not. And it's not the case. Here, we know the version of Python. Not in this case, but in the filter bar, you can specify the version of Python. And in this case, also, you can do that for your project. Just use branch and the name. And in this case, you can see the pull request for your version. So yes, we have a lot of flags, label, where we can see if the developer has just signed the CLA or not. Here, in this case, that's fine. We can see if we need to backward to the last version of Python. Just that. Okay, we have a small dashboard. Not really sexy, but it's fine. Better than the previous. We can see the reviews. And of course, we can, when we contribute to Python, Python is not a small project, but for some parts of Python, we can have an expert. For example, I'm not an expert of async.io, but it's the case for Yuri. Yeah, that's very difficult to remember the name with the nickname. Sorry, excuse me. Sorry, Yuri. See you later in Toronto, please. So, we can see that there is a team for the crypto team. Yesterday, yeah, it's him. For the email, for example, for the Functools library, it's Nick and Raymond, and they will be notified by just an email if there is an update of the Functools in the branch. So we can see if the project is just, if the branch is just approved by some tools, or just if the branch fills the requirements. Just that. And of course, just for GitHub, we have 2 kinds of API. The first one, and for the previous version, for the version 1, 2, and 3, that was a REST API. And now for the version 4, we can use the GraphQL API. I think there was a talk from Patrick about this point. That's really useful, but for me there is a limitation. For example, for some statistics, if you want to get all the pull requests from the project, you are limited to the first 100 pull requests. And after that, you have to play with the offset. Okay, the migration to GitHub. The migration to GitHub. There was a PEP, and in this PEP, we explain how to do the migration. And there was some dates. The first one was the 15th January, where we moved the PEPs to GitHub. Yeah? Because before that was on Mercurial. That's the first date. The second one was the 22 July, where we have migrated the dev guide. The dev guide is just the document. Who wants to contribute to Python? Go. You? Maybe? You're not sure? You? Okay. If you want to start to contribute to Python, you have to read the dev guide. In this document, it's a documentation where we explain the structure of Python, how to compile it, how to test it, how to create your first batch, and how to become a core developer. And you have a lot of steps to do before to receive the grail of a core developer. And the last one was the 11th February. We have migrated CPython. Okay? Just for this migration, 2 years. Just 2 years. By this guy, Brett Cannon. I also have a small anecdote, but I'm going to explain it later, in a few minutes. So, for the story, Brett Cannon was the original author of, or the co-author of the PEP about the migration from SVN, from Mercurial to Git. And he received a lot of help from these guys, and me. I'm just here. So, just kidding. So, I think there is Ezio Melotti here. Okay, he's in the conference. But this group has just migrated to GitHub. So, if you see who wants to go to PyCon US or PyCon Canada, not you, I know that. Okay, if you see Brett, maybe you can make a big hug to him because that was a very big job. So, that's fine. About the automation. In the previous workflow, there is no automation. Nothing. In fact, nothing. You create a patch. Firstly, you create a new issue. You create the patch for the issue. And just wait and see, and you will discover the whole process of Python. But with GitHub, we can use the new tool of GitHub. For example, we can use Travis, and we can use AppVeyor. Travis will execute the test suite of Python. We'll execute the code coverage. We can execute the performance test. That's a topic for Victor. We'll compile the documentation. And yes, before that, when you just push a new version of Python, there was a mouse in a cage and try to compile the documentation. Now we have Travis for that. That's better. And of course, we can see if your patch is just correct. For example, when you create a patch, we need the patch, of course, some tests, the documentation, some commands, and why not some other stuff. What else? Yeah, of course, with the automation, we can execute the test on the master branch and the stable branch. What time is it? Okay, that's fine. And yes, there is the automation, but we have the bots. And the bots. What? Do you remember at the beginning I just explained that when we create a patch for the last version of Python, and if there is a backport, we need to make this backport manually? No, this assumption is just false because we have created some bots where we will write the backport for us. So, firstly, we have this bot, Bedevere. Sorry, I mean, how do you pronounce it?
Bedevere.
Bedevere, yeah. In French, okay. Bedevere. This one will check if you assign the CLA, if you gave your right to the PSF. We'll check if there is the number of the issue, if there is a next file, an entry in the next directory, and we'll play with some labels on the pull request. Awaiting a review. If you want to contribute, for example, you can go and try to find the pull request with the awaiting a review. And you can start to contribute to the project. Okay? Remember the knight just in front of the king. Don't pass, I don't want. You think. So this one will just check if you assign the CLA in the bug tracker. If you didn't sign the CLA, we won't want to check your pull request. It's just a requirement for us. Okay? Without that, you can try to wait for, I don't know, 1 month, 2 years, indefinity, I don't know. But we don't want to see your pull request. If you sign the CLA, it's not a problem for us. Okay, if the CLA is just signed, you have this message, this label on your pull request, and if you don't sign the CLA, you have another message. Please, can you go on the form and just sign it? In a few minutes, you have a new contributor of Python, an official contributor of Python. Okay? So, yep. You love Mrs. Linton, huh?
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Written by the first female code developer.
Yeah, of course, by Marietta. Marietta is, because she's leaving, is the first female code developer of Python. That was in January of the last year, maybe. Yeah. And we have a second female code developer, Carol Willing. So, Mrs. Linton, with this big thing, there's a very big job for us. For example, you are writing a new patch, a new pull request, for the version 3.5. Yeah, you have, for example, you have seen that there is an error in the documentation. Okay, you can go. There's a problem with my computer? No. It's me and the cable. So you have found an issue in the documentation. You can go on the clone button, just clone it, okay. You can edit the documentation, just create the patch, the pull request, and just wait. We will receive a message, oh, hey, there is a new pull request, can you check it? Yeah. We validated this pull request, and automatically, Mrs. Linton can create the backport for the other version. For example, the version 2.7 or 3.6, or maybe the new one, 3.7, without any human action. Okay? From this one, I think it's very useful because for the documentation, yes, it's 2 lines, but when you have modified the documentation, the source code of Python, and we have, I don't know, a small code of 1000 lines, she will do the job. And we need to do one thing, just need backport to the version. Just that. Okay. So we have the bots, we have the automation. For us, it's a real gift. Because from Travis, from Avire, tell me, how many minutes? 10 minutes, okay. From Avire, Travis, Bedevere, and some other bots, we can have this dashboard. And from this dashboard, we can accept your pull request or not. If everything is just in green, we come and just squash and merge. Just that. Not very difficult. And with the previous workflow, that was more difficult. So, if there is a problem, there is a cross, a red cross. Of course, you need to improve your pull request. It's just a requirement in this case. Okay? And it's just the small travel from a pull request. Mrs. Lincoln has seen that there was a need byteport, a label with need byteport. She has created this pull request for this version, 2.7, 3.6, and 3.7. But this bot has just removed the everything merge, and Mrs. Lincoln has created a new commit, and after that, Bedever has created a new backport. So we have created an automation for everything. Okay, now the MISC news file was really the worst bad idea in Python, in the life of Python. Really, this thing, in fact, it's just a very, very, very big file where you have the changelog. And this changelog was created by us, the developers, the contributors. And when you want to merge a branch from another developer or from just want to merge a branch, there was a problem. There's a lot of conflicts. So sometimes one conflict is not a problem. But the problem was the MISC file was a very big file and really a very big pain for us. And there was a small strategy, very efficient strategy. You know, you start, you have a new contributor, you start, yes, I'm going to be a good contributor, everything is good. But where you start to review one pull request, a second and third, and you will see the, 200 review just with the MISC file. That's very boring, and you don't want to work on this file. For that, there is a solution, blurb. Blurb in French is just I think you understand. So I don't know why this name, but it's the same thing with PostgreSQL. The library libpq. You know libpq. What the meaning of PQ in French is just the paper that you use where you go to the toilet. Okay? Why not? Okay. So in this case, blurb is a funny name. But this tool is really awesome. Why? Because it has split the news file in 1 and 3 has one individual file. And each file has this format about the name. For example, it's just the section where the component that we have modified in the pull request and the date. And we avoid the conflicts. And in the text file, it's just an LST file, sorry, excuse me. That's very difficult to pronounce. And of course, you can use some link or just, it's an RST file. So that's really awesome for us because we can use a smiley, emoji in the documentation, and sometimes it's very funny. So, status about the workflow. How many minutes? 5. Chill. Before, you're a contributor. Just open an issue, clone it. The repository, not the issue. Upload a patch. For the core developer, wait a review, download the patch, fix the conflicts, run the test, run the code coverage, come in manually, blah, 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 blah. You can repeat, you can repeat. That's very boring. The process is very long, manual, and error-prone, because we can forget something. After that, yes, great. You're a contributor. Just open an issue. Clone the repository, create the pull request. It's your job, okay? For us, the contributor and the code developer. We will review your contribution. We will wait if Travis is just happy, okay? And wait just for the green signal. From that, we can click just on merge. And if we need a backport, just add the label on the pull request. And in fact, for this process, you can wait, I don't know, maybe 2 months. Here, 1 hour. Okay, just before GitHub, it's me. Without any Xanax or medicine, medicament and what else. Just after GitHub, it's me. Champagne, yes, we can go. So, some statistics, and after that I just finished. And in 3 months. So, this number is just the number of pull requests since the migration from Mercurial to GitHub. 6,500. Great. We can see that we started to create the pull request. And you see, can you see the red line? The red line is just for Miss Islington. She has created some pull request. No, I check it. That's the right numbers. Yeah, great. 848. What is this number? A number of contributors. For a small project, I think it's good. Thank you. Really thank you. Because that's very difficult to support all the architecture that we can have with Python. And of course, 34 code developers, active code developers, okay? Active. Because in fact, for the code developer, there are 168. Okay, the number of the code developer is this part is just for the contributor and the rest for the code dev. For the pull request, 76% for the contributors and 23% just for the code developers. From the pull request from Mrs. Linton, we can see that there is a small graph, but the maximum was in February. I think that the date before the Victor.
Yeah, the beta freeze.
Yeah.
I think this was in February, March.
Yeah, the merge time, really important. We merge more than 2,000 pull requests in 0 day. We're efficient. And we have a winner. Maximum 368 days for one pull request. This one, that was just a description in the documentation. Excuse me. Sorry. But it has been merged, there is 26 days ago. We are not efficient in this case. But if you want to contribute, that's the good point. Okay? The Tor merge, for the first 10 merge. 0 day, 2,597 merge. For the rest, that's good. For the pull request, we have merged, you see number, 4,000. 5,000. Game over? Okay. Just one thing. Yes, Python loves pull request. Just that. And we are ready for the future because we try to improve the process. And of course, if you want to start to translate the documentation in Italian, it's a good point to that. Okay? That's all.
Thanks, Stefan, for your talk. Unfortunately, there is no time for questions, but he'll be around for the rest of the conference, so feel free to ask him how to contribute to our awesome language. Thank you again. We'll be